up an alley.
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Newton, and I want to convince you that my greenhouse ships will work. And earlier before, I've explained to you how billions of people live off less than $2 a day, how billions of people again don't have adequate water, and how hundreds of millions of creatures are hungry every day. You know, and the reason why I'm starting off right here, I'm going to be over here in front of the computer, kind of explaining everything, and I won't really be in front of, the green screen like this or the screen like this. So I'm going to explain everything from over there, but I'm over here to kind of introduce myself and to kind of let you guys see me and everything else, because I'm kind of going to be in the background, and also want to give credit to all the pictures that I've taken, because I never actually gave any credit to any pictures. I just took all the pictures off the internet, saved them, and then left them that way. So they're all basically unanimous or anonymous, and I want to make sure that they have credit for the pictures that they have taken. And this, to start off, is basically like an example of how big I want the ship though. I want the ship to be the size of a cruise line, even the size of the Titanic maybe, depending on how maneuverable that can be on the ocean. So as you can see, this is my example of the size of the ship I want. You see that it's pretty luminous with all the siding and how many glass windows there are on the side. So obviously, you don't have to have a ship that looks like gray steel, like an ironclad ship or anything like that. So ships don't have to be a battle-looking ship. This is an example of some of the power that I want to use. I want to use solar power. And I know this picture looks pretty big, and this is on land, but I want to make these a little small. I want to make these the size of satellite dishes that you have in your home. So 26 to 34 inches in diameter, hanging on the top part of the ship, as you saw on the roof in the previous picture. This is a basic representation of what you would see if you're inside the ship looking out. Now, I know this seems like a lot of squares and everything else, and it might seem like it's pretty hot, but even as you see the shading in the top right corner and the top left corner and in the middle of the right, you see how the shading is. Also want to use something like that too to help keep the temperature down. Because again, on the ocean, it can always be hot, even if you're up here, especially if you've ever been in a greenhouse, regardless of what time of year it is, it's always the same temperature, around 70, 80 degrees. So, I want to help make sure that it's shady and that you can also be comfortable while you're in there walking around. And again, a perfect example was the eye care. With the eye care, realizing that's why I kind of asked you a question about the eye care and about sun damage to your eyes. Because again, being on the ocean, that's bright, sea, and everything else, you're going to be looking around. I don't want people to get hurt off this. So again, eyeglasses or sunshades would be very key for me to have. This is an example of the things that I would like to grow. As you can see, this is a much bigger picture. So you can actually see how the produce itself, the tomatoes, the eggplants, the bell peppers are actually hanging from the fruit itself. Now on the ship, I want to make the ship a little sturdier. And, these are sitting in a temperature perfect place, taking on a picture that's perfect, no wind or nothing like that. Nothing is moving. So yeah, it seems pretty easy then. But on a ship, I want to make sure that I can stabilize it. So, I want to have something like maybe a hard pole hanging down that they can actually hang from. But even if this entire thing is probably made of steel or something, where you can have it sit down and just grow from the bottom. But the basic concept that I want to show you is that I also want to have things hanging from the ceiling that can actually grow. Here is another example of the power that I want to use, wind power. And as you can see, even on this roof, you have 3 small wind panels on top of this roof. So obviously on a ship that's hundreds of feet long, you can have wind power helping produce energy for the ship. This is a picture of the bed, and this bed is your leisure time. This is going to be what you're going to be able to sleep in and be comfortable in. I know these pictures might seem kind of random and kind of out of order, but in an aspect, I'm trying to get you to see what the overall picture will look, the environment will look.
They have babies.
So, this is a picture of the bed, and obviously you see how comfortable it is. You see the picture on the side if you look to the left, the middle of the screen to the left, you can see how they have a stand to move the right to the bed. So, obviously these beds are going to be pretty comfortable. And you see how it's also made like a sofa aspect as well. So, you can be sit up, watch big flat screen. There will be flat screen TVs hanging from the wall. So, you can sit up on the wall and watch the flat screen TV or even lay in bed and be more comfortable. This is a picture of a man powering his computer and possibly that whole entire room, whether it's the lights or anything else. But this picture right here is demonstrating the simple way of making power. You can literally do this at home. People have done this in their homes in certain areas in the country. But this picture right here is just demonstrating how you can create power and even enjoy your own time. You can be typing on Facebook. You can be communicating with your family. You can be Skyping with your family right now, riding a bike, and you're not really going far. The bike is at your own leisure, but it's creating power. So, you do have a green energy source that you use. It's not going to be nuclear power. It's not going to be some steamship engine where you have people hauling steam or coal into a coal engine. This is an example of desalination. And I want to use the desalination process to help irrigate, plants, or water the plants at least. And also I want to be able to capture water that will be the condensation within the ship, as well. But the desalination process is just a basic, simple process to help the crew members on the ship be able to have water to take baths and drink and be able to cook and sterilize any equipment that they may need to use. I know this picture might seem kind of disgusting or whatever, but it's earthworms. And my aspect of earthworms is that, again, this is going to be all natural. So there's not going to be any fertilizer. I'm going to be on the water, so I have to have a certain responsibility to all of us to make sure our water isn't polluted. Earthworms is one of the best ways to help fertilize soil. So these earthworms are going to be used basically like in a 55-gallon drum or something like that, where we're using the biodegradable trash from what we eat, from the waste products that we use, from all the old plants, from newspapers that we may get, paper that we may use, anything like that, and they're going to help fertilize. They're going to be the main producers of our fertilizer on the ship. So these are going to be living creatures, and also, if they ever get too big, nature, it grows. If they ever get too big, we can also use them to go fishing with. Obviously, it's kind of funny that an earthworm, you cut it in half, it's still going to live. So, you can basically cut it in half and use it to go fishing with if you see, a school of fish or something like that. So you have your other means of resources to be able to eat while you're living on the ship. This is an example of the productivity that I hope to have within a single pot. Now, on the ship, there are going to be individual pots like this that plants will be able to grow. So there's not going to be we won't have to worry about competition in the plants or anything else like that. And in this picture, you see the productivity that can be created just from a small pot like this. Now, harvesting everything, you won't have to pick each and every tomato. You would just take the whole vine up from the ground or from the soil pot itself and store it within a cart or something like that and move it into like a refrigerated environment to help store it. This is another example of the volume that I hope to create. And with this, you see how you have plants hanging from the ceiling, how you have plants on the ground, how you have like a little mini maze where everything is growing. But as you can see, everything is growing without weeds or anything else like that. We don't have anything that has competition. So we won't have to worry about that. And obviously, you see that they're all pretty productive. So, the productivity that's going on is evident within the pot. These old cars are going to be used to help produce the ship itself. So all the steels are going to come from old cars. I mean, a lot of you guys weren't born at the time where cars were made of steel and hard and big. The old Continentals that you used to see, Lincoln Continentals that you see in your old movies nowadays, these cars were all made of steel. These cars were actually made when you would get in an accident, you wouldn't have to worry about getting hurt. There wouldn't be no back pain or anything like that, because you could literally get back in that car and just go drive right off because they were made of steel. So steel is a very important product, and I want to be able to help clean up the environment. I want to be able to help clean up the land as well and help give people another avenue of or another resource to make money off of. So, imagine it's just the people on land that they have to go move all these cars to here, move these cars there, get these cars recycled and everything else. So now we have productivity still going on in the land, or on land itself. This is a picture of sunlight. And I have this picture, and it's kind of, not necessarily a philosophy picture, but what it is that I'm showing what I'm going to use for my desalination process. And a magnifying glass can always help create fire. I don't know if you ever tried it in Boy Scouts or anything like that, but if you just take a magnifying glass and hold it out in the sunlight, when the sunlight outside, if you take a magnifying glass and hold it to some wood, it will create fire pretty fast. I mean, you can literally engrave anything you want, do many things with it. And I want to be able to use a magnifying glass in the sunlight to help reduce some of my heat that I would need on the ship. I know it seems kind of far-fetched right now, but it's a philosophy. Trust me, I will be able to use it and be able to use it from where certain aspects of our need to use it. This is a picture of Marcus Garvey, which is kind of some of the philosophy behind the ship. And what it is that Marcus Garvey was a man that created his own shipping enterprise himself. He created the Black Star Line, which was, in the early 20th century, actually helped stimulate a lot of jobs in America and abroad. And he was basically created from African Americans to help business going. And he was one of the big motivation for this because he helped amass a lot of poor people that needed jobs. A lot of poor people that were destitute, didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go, that were stuck in peonage and everything else, and they needed a whole environment, to get away from and be able to produce their own welfare for themselves, their own lifestyle for their family and everything else. And he helped do this in the early 20th century. He actually made ships. I mean, I know people have come up to me with the idea of flying around and not necessarily soliciting, but finding a contribution or a donation from other people. He actually did that. He did that twice. He had one ship that broke down, and he went out and he sent out mail orders to or mail packages to invest into his company to create his Black Star Line. And he built 2 ships just off that alone, just sending out mail for people to say, hey, invest in my company, put some stock and bonds in my company, and we will create ships. And he actually manifested the idea. This is a outhouse. And I know it might seem kind of, disgusting or whatever, but it's not. And the principle behind the outhouse is that I want to be able to use human waste to help create fertilizer. So, all this outhouse is basically saying is that, as you can see in the lower left corner where they have these flowers that are growing outside, I don't know exactly how those flowers are growing out there, but my assumption is that the people that go in here and use the bathroom are powering that fertilizer. Or they're fertilizing that plant to actually grow. And a lot of nitrogen comes out of your body, out of your human waste and everything else like that. And what better way with earthworms to help produce all the fertilizer and nitrogen. This is a round bathtub, another creature comfort. You're going to have to be able to take showers and everything else. You're going to want to live comfortably and be, very comfortable on the ship. So what better way to have a unique design for your bathtub? We all don't want to sit around in a square bathtub all our lives. Some of us don't even take baths anymore. We all take showers sometimes. This is a picture of, just like the men on the bike, this is a picture of a different kind of row machine or a different kind of machine that will help create kinetic energy or help create green power on the ship. So these row machines, if it was actually hooked up, just like the back tire that was connected to that earlier picture, that earlier model of this guy that had his tire connected to the alternator and everything else that was giving power. So with the round row machine part, that will be connected and pulling back and forth will help create energy. So this is just another avenue. This is just another example to say that okay, you won't just be on a bike. You can also be on a row machine. You can also be on a steer car or something like that. And that's not really all. I have a couple more pictures.
Yeah, and we are running out of time, and you are going to take time next week too, so you might want to just wrap it up right now, just because all of us have to go to work and everything. But I find it fascinating.
Any questions?
I'm so proud of. No, yeah, thank you.